What's happening around the world?
And what's happening here at home? Welcome to Primetime News here on Newsfirst, where people come first. I'm your host, Naviksha Gunasekara.
And I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Who is the former minister linked to the gold-plated T56 firearm seized in Vellavatta? Report on the contempt of court charges against Deshabandhu Tennakon is ready. Attorney General informs court. 101 kilos of heroin found behind a bakery in Veerakatia. 2 suspects arrested. Salt shortage will be over from next week. Central Bank reduces policy interest rates.
In your top story for tonight, Ravi Gunasekara, Miss Sri Lanka for Miss World 2025 in a stunning rise to international recognition. Ravi has captured worldwide attention overnight, representing Sri Lanka at the 72nd Miss World pageant currently taking place in Hyderabad, India. Ravi was selected as one of the finalists in the highly competitive talent segment.
Adding to her remarkable journey, Ravi also took part in the prestigious head-to-head challenge yesterday, delivering a confident and compelling presentation as part of this key segment of the competition.
Sabba papassa akarana, kusalassa upasampada, sachitta pariyodapana, etam buddhana sasana. Geographically, Sri Lanka is a tiny island that you wouldn't even notice on the map. But the hearts, the hopes, the spirit of my people are anything but small, they are immense. As a country, we've been through a lot. From conflicts to natural disasters, pandemic, and economic crisis, yet my people remained hopeful, they remained strong, they remained resilient, and I believe it's that very resilience that propelled me to where I am today. I'm coming from a small town called Anuradhapura. That's the first kingdom of Sri Lanka and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But ironically, no one expected that someone from Anuradhapura will be the one to carry that heritage to the world, which is what I'm doing right now. I believe the places that are least expected to shine are the ones that hold the brightest light. And I believe, realistically, I wouldn't be able to change the entire world. But the idealist in me believes that I can change someone's world. And I think that's exactly what I will be doing in my life. Thank you so much, Stuti.
Ravi Gunasekara represents Sri Lanka at the 72nd Miss World pageant currently taking place in Hyderabad, India, which will have its grand finale on the 31st of May 2025. This year's edition of the Miss World pageant brings a renewed spirit and a modern format, highlighting not just beauty, but also talent, intellect, and purpose. Ravi, aged 25, hails from Anuradhapura and holds a degree in international relations from the University of Kelaniya. She is among the contestants who took part in the pageant's Talent Challenge, where she showcased her skills in dance and the performing arts. Coming from a family that blends discipline and creativity, Ravi's mother is involved in the beauty industry, while her father serves in the Sri Lanka Police. She first aspired to take the Miss World stage at the age of 17 and has since nurtured that dream with dedication and purpose. Described as a young woman who embodies beauty, intelligence and compassion, the 3 core values of the Miss World title, Ravi now steps onto the global stage with the hopes of a nation behind her. We extend our warmest wishes to Ravi as she competes for the Miss World crown, carrying the pride of Sri Lanka with grace and strength.
In more news, the Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund is expected to meet in the coming weeks to decide on approving the staff-level agreement that was reached between the IMF staff and the Sri Lankan authorities, confirmed Julie Kozak, the spokesperson for the fund. Responding to a question posed by Newsfirst's Zulfiq Farzan during a press conference held in Washington, D.C. on Thursday, she stressed that the IMF Executive Board approval is contingent on the implementation of prior actions relating to restoring electricity cost recovery pricing and ensuring proper function of the automatic electricity price adjustment mechanism. She further stressed that the board approval will also be contingent on the completion of financing assurances review, which will focus on confirming multilateral partners' committed financing contributions. The International Monetary Fund staff reached a staff-level agreement on the fourth review of the country's economic program on the 25th of April. Once formally approved, Sri Lanka will gain access to a disbursement of $334 million under its ongoing IMF arrangement. However, approval is contingent on the completion of implementing the aforementioned necessary reforms.
Meanwhile, the gold-plated T56 assault rifle, which was discovered at a housing complex in Vellavatta, is suspected to have belonged to a former minister. The investigation into the origin and ownership of the firearm has now been transferred to the Terrorism Investigation Division for further investigations, and 2 women have been taken into custody.
Police seized the gold-colored T56 rifle 2 days ago near the entrance of a luxury apartment complex in Vellavatta, while also taking into custody 2 women at the scene. Following their interrogation, officers arrested another suspect in Ruanvalla. Investigations revealed that the man had worked as a chef at the official residence of a former minister. What links the T56 rifle to the former minister? The 68-year-old woman in custody, along with her 40-year-old daughter-in-law, a Kazakh national, has provided key information linking the gold-plated T56 firearm to a former minister. According to their statements, the former minister, believed to be the owner of the weapon, once resided in an official residence adjacent to the luxury apartment complex in Vellavatta, where the elderly woman currently lives. The man arrested in Ruanvalla had served as the cook at the minister's residence during that time. The investigation has revealed that the former minister's cook, who was arrested after vacating the official residence, had brought 2 bags, including the one containing the gold-colored T56 firearm, to the home of the 68-year-old woman at the Vellavatta apartment complex. During questioning, the woman disclosed that the cook later returned to retrieve only one of the bags. She claimed she believed the T56 rifle was merely a toy. The Kazakh national in custody, identified as the 68-year-old woman's daughter-in-law, told police that she had visited the Vellavatta residence from Battaramulla in search of a bag for her 2 children's school trip. She said she took the bag containing the firearm and placed both the weapon and the bag separately into the vehicle. She further said that after leaving the residence, she brought the firearm back into the apartment upon her return. According to her, her mother-in-law mistook the weapon for a toy and even suggested giving it to the children. The firearm has since been handed over to the government analyst for further examination. Ongoing inquiries are now being conducted by the Terrorism Investigation Division.
Meanwhile, former Minister Mahinda Amravira faced questions from journalists today regarding the gold-plated T56 rifle.
No, it's not mine, and I don't have anything like that in my possession. We only hear what's being said in the news. The police have full authority and responsibility to investigate and identify whose weapon it is and proceed accordingly.
කාගේද කියලා හොයාගෙන ඒ කටයුතු කරයි. නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ නම ගෑවෙනවා. ওই වගේ දේවල් වලට නම ගෑවුනාට
While our party's name is being linked to this incident, there are far more serious issues that have been connected to other political parties. Yet, those often go unnoticed. The public is currently facing many hardships today due to some of the decisions taken by the ruling party. Therefore, forget about it. The people don't have salt, rice and other necessities. People are struggling even to find their next meal. They haven't even taken action against the talk macaque problem that people once faced. At a time when people are deeply disappointed and burdened by unfulfilled promises, sensationalizing stories like this only serves as a distraction. Such news are carried with the intention of slinging mud against other political parties. If there's a question about whether this involves our party, we have no issue. If there's anything improper, the authorities should investigate into it.
මඩ ගහන්න ගන්න ඒවා තමයි. අපි පක්ෂයේද කියලා ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ඉතින් අපිට ඒවා තියෙනවා නම් හොයාගන්න හොයාගෙන මේ අවශ්‍ය
The discovery of the gold-plated T56 assault rifle emerges amid ongoing revelations about the connections between organized crime and political figures following a series of recent shooting incidents and murders. Meanwhile, a statement made by former Speaker Chamal Rajapakse regarding criminal activities at the Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna War Heroes Commemoration Ceremony held in Battaramulla on the 20th of May has also garnered significant attention.
Security can be assessed based on the incidents unfolding daily, and there is a possibility that such issues may double in the future. Therefore, the key message is that everyone should remain alert and vigilant. Today, journalists questioned the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna regarding Chamal Rajapakse's recent statement suggesting that criminal activities could potentially double.
Rajapakse mahatmaya prakashak kara raniviru samarumedi පාතාල ක්‍රියාකාරකම් සිතතම සිදුවීම් ඩබල් වෙන්න පුළුවන් කියලා.
එතුමා කියන්න උත්සාහ කරන්නේ
What Chamal Rajapakse is essentially highlighting is that if the underworld activities are allowed to continue unchecked, they will only escalate. He means that if this situation persists, such incidents will only double or even triple. They are saying the reason behind these criminal activities is Chamal Rajapakse's statement made during the War Heroes Day commemoration, and that ultimately is the news.
වෙන කියන්න වචනයක් නැහැ. මේ පාතාල සිදුවීම වලට හේතුව රණවිරු සමරුමට ආපු ජමල් රාජපක්ෂ දීපු වොයිස් කට් එක. හරි ෂෝ. ඒව තමයි නිවුස්.
පාතාල ක්‍රියාකාරකම් දිගින් දිගටම සිදු වෙනවා. එතකොට මාධ්‍යවරයා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා දේශපාලන පක්ෂ මේවට සම්බන්ධයි කියලා.
We can see that certain parties are attempting to shape public perception in that direction. However, there's no genuine reason for an ordinary citizen in this country to naturally think that way. And even if someone does, what can really be done about it? If we interpret the widespread surge in violent incidents from a statement of Chamal Rajapakse, then it makes you wonder, why were we even born in a country like this?
Deputy Solicitor General Johanna Bevikrama informed Mathura Magistrate Aruna Buttadasa that the Attorney General is prepared to take legal action against Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Tennakone in the future. The Deputy Solicitor General stated that the investigation report in connection to the alleged contempt of court by Deshabandhu Tennakone has also been finalized.
The case filed over the shooting incident at the W15 hotel in Valigama was called today. On the 25th April, the Mathura magistrate ordered an investigation to be launched into the actions of Deshabandhu Tennakone, subsequent to being granted bail that could amount to contempt of court. The magistrate emphasized that his court does not have the legal authority to take action in this regard and instructed the Attorney General to take steps to file a case against Tennakone in the Court of Appeal. Accordingly, a case has been filed against Deshabandhu Tennakone for violating court orders and contempt of court, and also against Roshan Lakshita, who transported him out of the court complex in a vehicle after he was granted bail. The 8 suspects, including Deshabandhu Tennakone, who are allegedly involved in the shooting incident, appeared in court today when the case was called. After considering the facts presented, the magistrate scheduled the next hearing for the 10th October at 10 a.m. Fourth Magistrate Nilupuli Lankapura has granted permission to the Commercial Crimes Investigation Division of the Criminal Investigation Department to inspect the bank accounts of 12 individuals, including Keheliya Rambukwala, Rajitha Senaratna and Dayasiri Jayasekara. This authorization was granted as part of an ongoing CID investigation into the alleged misuse of money from the presidential fund that was obtained by these MPs following the submission and approval of false information. The CID filed a motion before the Fourth Magistrates Court yesterday requesting permission to inspect accounts of a state bank as part of the ongoing investigation. The magistrate approved this request and issued an order to the relevant state bank to provide the necessary information to the CID. A detailed report on this was submitted to the court on the 30th April following an investigation which was initially launched on 22 individuals for irregularities in obtaining funds from the presidential fund. The 22 individuals were identified after an initial investigation into 36 individuals who allegedly misused funds that were obtained from the presidential fund.
The Police Narcotics Bureau has identified the drugs found behind a bakery in Virakatia as heroin. Police stated that the haul weighed 101 kilograms and 47 grams, and the consignment of drugs has been sent to the government analyst for further investigation.
The stash of drugs hidden behind a bakery was discovered at a house in Atupode, Virakatia, following a tip-off received by the Police Special Task Force. The drugs were packaged and concealed. 2 individuals were arrested when the police entered the premises. Among them were the bakery owner and an employee at the bakery. The arrested owner stated that a friend who arrived in a small lorry about 1.5 weeks ago handed over the consignment of drugs to him.
According to investigations, it has been revealed that the drugs were brought to the location in a small lorry. Investigations so far have revealed that the stash was carefully hidden under the upholstery of the lorry. The stash was then packeted and the lorry had left the area. Investigations on the lorry are underway.
Meanwhile, police spokesperson, Senior Superintendent of Police Buddhika Manatunga, said that Sri Lanka police has seized 403 kilograms of heroin within the past 5 months.
From the 1st of January to date, we have seized 403 kilograms of heroin, excluding the 101 kilograms seized here. We have also arrested the suspects in this regard. Accordingly, we will continue with these procedures in an organized manner, and we will ensure that the maximum is done to curb drug trafficking in the country.
Officials from the Government Analysts Department arrived this evening to investigate the stash of drugs. The suspects are scheduled to be produced before the Valasmulla Magistrates Court tomorrow. Customs officials at the Bandar Naik International Airport apprehended 4 suspects attempting to smuggle a large consignment of Kush, a high-grade cannabis strain, into the country. According to Sri Lanka police, within this month up to now, authorities have seized a total of 73 kilograms and 30 grams of Kush during multiple raids at the Bandar Naik International Airport. The suspects, 4 Sri Lankan nationals arriving from Bangkok, Thailand, had concealed the narcotics within their luggage. Sri Lanka Customs said that the seized narcotics are estimated to have a street value of exceeding 70 million rupees. Sri Lanka Customs officials apprehended 3 women on the 19th of May 2025 at the Bandar Naik International Airport in Katunaika with a large consignment of Kush cannabis valued at approximately 120 million rupees. The suspects, identified as residents of Kolonnava and Wellampetia, were found to have smuggled in approximately 12 kilograms of Kush concealed inside air conditioning and electrical equipment, reportedly brought in from India. On the same day, a Thai national was also apprehended at the Bandar Naik International Airport with 7.91 kilograms of Kush. The estimated street value of the narcotics seized is 79 million rupees. Another Thai national was apprehended on the 18th of May 2025 at the Bandar Naik International Airport in Katunaika, along with 1.1 kilograms of Kush cannabis valued at approximately 12 million rupees. Authorities revealed that the suspect had disguised himself in women's clothing in an attempt to evade detection. 2 Sri Lankan nationals who had arrived at the airport to receive the suspect were also taken into custody in connection with the smuggling attempt. Meanwhile, on the same day, an Indian national who arrived at the Kankasantherai harbour from Nagapattinam, India, via a passenger ferry, was arrested with 4 kilograms and 20 grams of kush, with an estimated street value of 41.2 million rupees. Sri Lanka customs officials at the Bandar Naik International Airport in Katunayaka apprehended another female foreign national on the 13th of May 2025, with a consignment of kush cannabis valued at 460 million rupees. The suspect was identified as a 21-year-old British national, and the narcotics were reportedly smuggled into the country, concealed within her luggage.
News First with the people.
Be a part of the Beach Rugby Carnival, organised by OTRFU on the 24th of May, 3 p.m. onwards at the Port City, Colombo. More information on 0777 3865 Media sponsor Yes 101, Legends 966 and TV1.
Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, highlights a revised lower inflation projection for the next 12 to 18 months and anticipates a historic third year of current account surplus, even with relaxed import controls. Now, he expressed these views at the third Monetary Policy Review press briefing held at the Central Bank today.
Compared to the last Monetary Policy Review and this Monetary Policy Review, so there are some changes. Forward-looking basis, we have seen some revisions to the outlook. First point is that compared to the last review, we see inflation projection path. I think you can see, even compare these fan charts. Last review versus this review, we see inflation is moving in the next 12 to 18 months at a lower path than we projected last review. In terms of aggregate demand, compared to the last review, we all know, because of the global uncertainties, some of the geopolitical issues, even IMF has revised the global outlook bit lower. That means, even from the overall aggregate demand point of view, external demand component could certainly be lower than what we expected the last time. Sri Lankan exports, we still don't know. We have a 90-day pause. Government is discussing that. We have to wait and see what will be the outcomes. This is without taking into consideration any changes, expecting this same status quo maintaining beyond 90 days. But already there are some downward revisions to the external demand. So everything else, obviously one important point I want to highlight here is our projection on the external side. Although this external demand factor is lower, but still, because of the favorable impact on the petroleum prices, as well as some adjustment in the exports, but still remittances and tourism is doing well as we expected. This is going to be a third year of current account surplus that's going to be recording in Sri Lanka. Historically, we never had 2 years, but we had already 2 years of current account surplus. It's going to be even third year of current account surplus, even after full relaxation of import controls, including motor vehicles.
The Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka also responded to questions raised by journalists.
So, since the US tariffs are coming into play, it is projected that there will be a lot of uncertainty in the economy of the world. So, is there a counter plan designed from your side, from the central bank side, to tackle the effects?
No, I think it's too early, because now what we understand is there's a 90-day pause, and government is in the process of, for Sri Lanka, tariff is a process of negotiation. And also other countries also, we are seeing some announcement. For example, UK and US announced one package. And there was also announcement by the US administration. There was some easing of tensions against even China, brought down to 30% from 145 something. So I think it's moving in the right direction. So we have to wait and see what would be the final kind of more certainty. That's, you are correct, there's uncertainty, but we see a bit of certainty that moving in the right direction from the earlier lot of uncertainty and very high tariffs, and moving in the lower path, I think that's a positive. But still, we don't know exactly what would be the end game, and that we have to wait and see. Especially for Sri Lanka as well as for other countries and for the global economy.
The Ministry of Trade, Commerce and Food Security says that there will be no shortage of salt starting from next week. Meanwhile, a debate was held in Parliament today regarding the shortage of salt in the country and the corruption allegations surrounding it.
The daily morning pattare පළවල තියෙන කෘත්‍ය පිළිබඳව.
I would like to draw your attention to a report published in the Daily Morning. Indian salt shipment arrives. This is where the cat jumps out of the bag. The state corporation had already prepared the import bill to get the shipment from India. It was only after that was the private sector allowed to import. A salt mafia has been created here. Has someone provided influence for the creation of this salt mafia? Is someone providing this influence? These matters must be looked into. Some of the owners of these companies come to Putlam. This may be a company where the government and the private sector work in partnership, but they come here and get positions on the board of directors. Honorable Deputy Speaker, Putlam is an area that produces half of the salt produced in Sri Lanka. But the salt from that area is not in the market. Someone is doing this intentionally. By doing this, someone in the government is providing influence to this salt mafia. That is the problem. The packet of salt that was at 130 rupees is now at 350 rupees. The imported salt can be sold at 150 or 200 rupees at most. This government must also be held responsible for the creation of this salt mafia.
මෙහෙම ඇතිවීමට මේ රජයත් වග කිය යුතුයි.
1997 On the 5th of February 1997, a group of companies was given 95% of the ownership of Putlam Salt on a 30-year lease. I know that MP Hakim was a part of the government when this corporation was given out. You could have opposed this as a member of the government then. It was after this corporation was given away in 97 that it was destroyed. A part of the shares owned by the cooperatives was purchased by the Raigam Salt Company. The Raigam Company came into the salt business. They established a factory called Vyamba Salt and Right opposite our factory in Putlam. That is illegal. They included these people on the board of directors of Putlam Salt. That process will end in 2 years. You were the people who paved the way for this mafia. You did not break the monopoly, you created the monopoly. If you broke the monopoly, how is Raigam doing all of this? Raigam is doing all of this through the monopoly that you created. I am speaking of what happened in 1997. Now it is 2025. Only 3 parties were brought in when it was opened to the private sector, and the majority of that was given to Raigam. They increased the price. It was to prevent the manipulation of prices that the two of us spoke and decided that it must be brought through the Salt Corporation and given to everyone. We sent it to the market through Satosa. Even today, the salt is sold at Satosa for 120 rupees. It was 3 to 4 people who published it for sale on Facebook for 350 rupees. The cabinet approved guidelines for bringing it down by the government has 32 steps. If the private sector is allowed to open LCs, it could have been brought down in 2 to 3 days. These must be changed by the Ministry of Finance. The government cannot change these guidelines to suit the needs. I am speaking the truth. We have to change these laws. It was because of the war between India and Pakistan that the salt is coming down now. These are not issues that we created. The rain is not an issue that we created. The people don't eat salt like your Ranil eats cashew. We will break this salt mafia by October. We will prepare a plan by April.
blood pressure වැඩි වෙනවා ඕගොල්ලෝ කියන ඒවාට ඊට වඩා වැඩි වෙනවා blood pressure.
Blood pressure increases even more when we hear what you say. They are trying to create headlines on newspapers. For the owner of the snake channel, the entire commercial sector has collapsed. The entire economy has collapsed. The entire garment industry is destroyed. The snake is dead. He is like a snake charmer with a dead snake. Dilit is like a snake charmer who lost his snake. His biggest issue is that a branch of Next has closed down. Dilit also has a group of baby snakes to speak for him. This was the closure of a branch of a garment factory. I don't have the power to instinctively know that this branch is making losses. If I had a power like that, I would have already gone there. They have not spoken to the Minister of Labour. They have not spoken to the Minister of Industries. They have not spoken to the BOI. They have spoken with the snake businessman. They have reported it to the snake businessman.
Why is a garment factory like this closing down? What is the message that we should take from this? The people of this country wake up every morning wondering if they will have salt the next morning. If garment factory workers wake up every morning unsure if they will have their jobs, how can these people face the future? If you do not engage in this conversation with the general public, it's not just you that will be destroyed. Our motherland too will be destroyed.
ඔබ විතරක් නෙමෙයි අවසාන වෙන්නේ අපේ මේ මාතෘ භූමිය හා ඒ අනාගතේ බවත් පවසමින් මම නිහඬ වෙනවා. අපි දැක්කා මෙතන.
We saw the owner of a media company speaking here as a party leader. He was saying that we should rid ourselves of a beggars mentality. You are mistaken. You destroyed the economy. You worked hard to help people in high places to destroy the economy of this country. You have a party that accepts anyone who comes. A party full of thieves from top to bottom. He sold an antigen kit that was imported for 400 rupees at a price of 1,400 rupees. This bigger mentality is better than earning money like that. The second in command at your party has asked for 20 million from a company that imported saline. The organizer of your party was sentenced to 16 years in prison. You started with eggs, then you moved on to coconuts, and now you are stuck with salt. We would like to ask the members of the opposition to eat some rice while you eat the salt. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Raigam group, Dr. Ravi issued a clarification with regard to the allegations against him.
These allegations are completely false. It's absolutely ridiculous to send a malicious message to consumers that a packet of salt of rupees 130 to rupees 140 is being sold for rupees 300. As a local entrepreneurship, we will never behave like a mafia. He said that I was appointed by the government to the board of Puttalam Salt Company. But I have been on the board of Puttalam Salt for 20 years. That is because Raigam Salt owns a 28% shareholding in Puttalam Salt. The entire salt industry knows of the new dimension that we added to the production of salt in this country. But there may be some ignorant persons who were unable to sell salt at the wholesale price in Petta or who imported salt and their businesses failed. Sri Lanka became self-sufficient in salt in 2007. As I recall, we have only imported salt once since then. In 2022, we had a stock of over 100,000 metric tons of salt, but that stock reduced over time and production also reduced due to rain. The reason is the heavy rain. It is not anyone's fault.
මේකට හේතුව වර්ෂාපතනය මිසක් මේකට කවුරුත් වග කියන්න ඕනේ නැහැ.
A meeting meant to soothe the tensions between the US and South Africa instead spiraled as President Donald Trump put his counterpart, President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, on the defensive with claims that white farmers in his nation were being killed and persecuted.
Yesterday, a week after the United States granted asylum to nearly 60 Afrikaners, a move that rankled South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa visited the White House to reset the country's relations. Instead, Trump surprised Ramaphosa during a live news conference with widely discredited claims of white genocide in South Africa. He played a video showing an exhibit during a protest of several crosses lining on a road, claiming they were burial sites for murdered white farmers. The film featured the voice of leading South African opposition figure Julius Malema singing "Shoot the Boer, Shoot the Farmer."
Shoot to kill the mother, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer. The poor, the farmer.
These are burial sites right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Those people were all killed.
Trump handed Ramaphosa what appeared to be printouts of stories of white people being attacked in South Africa. Trump said that he would seek an explanation from his guest on claims of white genocide in South Africa, which have been widely discredited.
We have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and I could show you a couple of things, and I would It has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
We have. Let me see the articles, please, if you would. And turn the lights down. We're going to talk about it. But this is a tremendous, look, this is story recent. These are all people that recently got killed.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it can get any worse.
Ramaphosa, after watching the video, responded to the opposition chants in it.
What you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
Before Wednesday's White House meeting, South Africa's leader stressed that improving trade relations with the United States was his priority. South African exports into the US face a 30% tariff once a pause on Trump's new export taxes ends in July. Ramaphosa hoped to charm Trump during the meeting, bringing along two famous South African golfers and gifting him a huge book featuring his country's golf courses. The bilateral meeting between the two presidents was also attended by US Vice President J.D. Vance, head of Dodge, Elon Musk and several others. US President Donald Trump lashed out at NBC reporter, calling him disgrace on Wednesday after he asked about accepting a luxurious Qatari jet and modifying it as a future Air Force One.
Mr. President, the Pentagon announced it would be accepting a Qatari jet to be used as Air Force One.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You know, you to get out of here. What does this have to do with the Qatari jet? They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other things. It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go into a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing, they also gave $5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition to the jet. Go back, you ought to go back to your studio at NBC because Brian Roberts and the people that run that place, they ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network, and you're a disgrace. No more questions from you. Go ahead. Go ahead, talk about that. His name is Peter something. He's a terrible reporter. Quiet. Let's go.
Fuming over the question, Trump said that the reporter, Peter Alexander, is a disgrace and directed him not to ask any more questions. Trump, while having a tense meeting with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa at the White House, accused the reporter of diverting attention from more pressing issues, such as the violence and racist laws against white farmers in South Africa.
Two staff members from the Israeli embassy in the United States were shot and killed on Wednesday night as they left a Jewish museum in Washington, D.C., prompting outrage from U.S. and Israeli officials.
According to foreign media, two Israeli embassy staff, a man and a woman, were a couple and were killed while leaving an event focused on helping Gazans at the Capitol Jewish Museum. The police said that a 30-year-old man from Chicago, Illinois, named as Elias Rodriguez, has been arrested in connection with the shooting. The suspect is currently in detention. According to police, the suspect had shouted "Free Palestine" after being taken into custody, and officers will look into ties to potential terrorism. The Israeli Foreign Ministry has confirmed the full names of the victims, Yaron Lishinsky and Sarah Lynn Milgrim. It says both were embassy staff members in Washington, D.C. The Foreign Ministry said in a statement on social media, quote-unquote, "We embrace the grieving families during this painful time and will continue to support them always." Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, addressing the incident, said that security will be increased for Israeli representatives and at diplomatic missions worldwide. He said, quote-unquote, "My heart aches for the families of the beloved young man and woman whose lives were cut short by a heinous anti-Semitic murderer. We are witnessing the terrible price of anti-Semitism and wild incitement against the state of Israel." A statement from the Prime Minister's office says he has spoken with US Attorney General Pam Bondi and Israel's ambassador in the country regarding the incident. Convening a media briefing in relation to the incident, Ambassador of Israel to the United States said that the two staff members were shot at close range.
I will say this. We are a resilient people. The people of Israel are resilient people, and the people of the United States of America are resilient people. Together we won't be afraid. Together we'll stand, and we're going to overcome moral depravity of people who think that they're going to achieve political gains through murder.
Top US and Israeli leadership, including President Donald Trump, expressed shock and outrage over the killings. Condemning the attack, Trump said, quote-unquote, "These horrible DC killings based obviously on anti-Semitism must end now." He posted on his Truth social platform, quote-unquote, "Hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA. Condolences to the families of the victims. So sad that such things as this can happen." US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, meanwhile, said authorities would track down those responsible for the fatal shooting of two Israeli embassy staffers. Israeli President Isaac Herzog said he was devastated by the scenes in Washington. He added, quote-unquote, "We stand with the Jewish community in DC and across the US. America and Israel will stand united in defense of our people and our shared values. Terror and hate will not break us." The shooting comes as Israel has launched a new campaign targeting Hamas in the Gaza Strip in a war that has set tensions aflame across the wider Middle East.
Sri Lanka's Hiruni Vijayasinghe won the silver medal in the 63 kg weight category at the 2025 Asian Youth Boxing Championships.
The 2025 Asia Youth Boxing Championships continued for its 10th day today at the Sugatadasa Indoor Stadium in Colombo. Sri Lanka's Hiruni Vijayasinghe faced K. Alina of Kazakhstan in the 63 kg weight category final of the championships, where Alina emerged victorious, claiming the gold medal, while Hiruni secured the silver, marking a historic achievement for the host nation. This is the first time ever that Sri Lanka won a silver medal at the Asia Youth Boxing Championships.
This is my very first international meet, and I'm truly happy to have had the chance to compete here. Opportunities like this don't come easily, so I'm incredibly grateful. I would like to sincerely thank my family for supporting me to get here, my first coach, Miss Rashmika, our national coach, Mr. Amila, and all other coaches who have helped train and guide me. I hope to continue competing in the future, and since I'm still studying, I'm also looking forward to progressing in my education alongside my sporting journey.
The 2025 Asia Youth Boxing Championships will conclude tomorrow. And that's our primetime news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.